Let's go then. Welcome everyone to the community call number 24. Little forward, we're going to talk about guild pins, UI redesigns, our new logic operator, which is super, super important for any admin who's managing a guild, Wallet Connect integrations, and the Twitter issues that are very, very live through the API, community milestones, and quite a few more. Today's a big one. Cut the I'll cut the small talk parts because we actually probably wouldn't have time to cover everything if I did a lot of that. So bear with me as we skim through everything this week. We want to make sure that we are, live and front stage with everything that's happening and can let you know on these events. So as usual, this one's being recorded and it's going to be up on the YouTube. As usual, we're going to share the channels in the, I think, secret chamber. And continue to look out for the secret chamber here in our Discord server because that's where we share screenshots and videos and everything that we're talking about so you can follow along and it makes more sense there. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. We're going to start with some more apparent changes on our UI, our interface. Before Guild was fully dark mode, that's kind of our brand, as you guys know. It's very, dark gray and pixel art and everything. We made a change that every user can now choose in the little hamburger menu on the top. They can choose if you want automated light mode or dark mode, and that's going to be a universal setting across Guild. But it also automatically matches the system settings, but you can also manually set to dark mode or light mode, whichever you like. This is kind of like a cute little update. We also did some updates to our landing page. Some of the content that was there was a little outdated, so we reviewed that and added some new links so that people who come to Guild now know what we all do here much better. More on the UI, we designed many smaller parts of it. So if you haven't connected your wallet already on Guild, now Guild reminds you to do so in a very, very prominent prime little spot. But if you've connected and you aren't part of any guilds yet, it encourages you to explore the already existing ones and also gives you the option to already jump in and create your own guild. This is like a small UX improvement. We hope that's helpful to find these shortcuts almost. And now also on the UI in our Explorer, which was our most viewed page, I think, the guilds that are shown that you've already joined. So your guilds are reordered based on joining time. So the most recent will be on the top and the oldest one you joined will be on the bottom. This is a very interesting setup if you have many, many guilds you joined over time. We've been live for, I think, almost 2 years at this point, over a year and a half. So many of you have been here since the beginning. I'm guessing you're part of many guilds like I am. So that's actually pretty interesting how it's reordered now. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's actually pretty useful. More updates in the user experience. We redesigned the creating guild flow. The design of the creation is now consistent with the design of the Explorer, even on mobile. So the little cards on the top are going downwards. So that's very mobile optimized. Actually, most of guild users are from mobile phones. So this is supposed to be a bigger help while creating guilds. So it's nicer. It's a better experience. More on the UI. Longer role descriptions were a little bit clumsy before. So in a few guilds, for example, in Trader Joe, they give very juicy big descriptions for each role or rank that they have. And since the description varied, it looked like you had to scroll a lot. Since we showed all the text that was given in the description, some of the roles, especially if it was in many roles in a guild, it kind of got elongated on the website. So we made a little update, standardized this so that every role with a longer description has an expand and collapse button for easing up navigation so that the roles aren't like taking half your screen if it has a longer description. Okay, so we're done with the the UI updates. This was like a bigger chunk. We'll have more for the next community call because we already have things that we didn't put in this one but pushed out yesterday and today. But we'll put those into the next community call. We'll move over to our new logic operator. It's many of you have probably seen it. We talked about it a little bit. It's to satisfy any of X requirements. So prior to this update, making roles with which you only need an X amount of requirements in order to get that role was only possible by layering several different roles together, which was very complicated and looked pretty clunky, creating unnecessary roles within Guild and making it harder to navigate this. And this new operator, this new logic makes it much easier and more transparent for users and admins to understand the role structures. So this actually means there's two options now when it comes to creating a role. One of which is the standard that has been a thing during the whole life of Guild, which every user should satisfy all of these requirements that we're setting right now. This was the equivalent of the end logic, and this was the one that was available before. That was the standard one. And the updated one and the extra that saves a lot of extra time and energy for admin setting up these roles is the should satisfy some or the any of X requirements. So it looks on the UI as there's a little drop down field where there's these two options, the should satisfy all and the should satisfy some. The should satisfy some means that the Guild admins have the option to list several requirements, as many as they like, from which they can choose how many a member who's joining need to satisfy in order to get that role or be able to claim that role. So in many instances, many communities have roles for members who attended many of their community events and hold their POAPs. And so far you had to add all of them, and you could either decide to make it an or logic. So holding one or all of them was the only two options before. With this, now we can say, even if we have 50 POAPs to choose from, we could say a regular attendee has to hold 6 of these. And it doesn't matter which 6, but they need to have 6 of these, which gives so much flexibility. This is shown to users on the website or members entering this guild as a pool of requirements. And written on the top is how many of these they have to satisfy or qualify for. And as usual, the little green, yellow, or gray X's, the yellow and the green are little dots on the side of the requirements, and the little gray X's signify or show if you satisfy those requirements or not. So it's easier to track for every member who's trying to get in a role. And as you can see in the little image shared in the secret chamber on those example, there are 3 requirements from which the user who's trying to get into this role has to satisfy 2. So that's a great example where it's visible. And a little explanation to how this can work together in combination with, for example, secret requirements, and now taking a moment to talk about the Linea pin strategy that many of you are waiting for. We are not going to go into too much detail, but it's a very interesting experiment that they're doing or work is that they use the any of requirement and secret requirements as well at the same time, or hidden requirements, sorry. And it shows up in our user interface as in, it says you have to have any of 4 requirements to qualify for this role. 1, the CAPTCHA is visible, and then we don't know how many requirements are hidden. But we already know that there's 3 of those unknown number that we need to qualify for in order to get this role. So that's an interesting combination that others can be inspired from of how to use these. Yeah, and we'll move over to the NFT requirements. When we launched Guild Pins, the Guild Pins have ranks, as you all know, and those are written down in the metadata of the NFTs. or the attributes, in other words. And so we wanted to make it available for the admins who already have pins in their guild, or they want to use the ones that are already launched, to be able to use these metadata as the gating mechanism. So with this update, the guild can also check the metadata of these tokens. In case of the guild pins, this means we can set up requirements to not only hold this token, but be in a certain range of the ranks. So for example, we can say a member has to be amongst the first X minters. So like be in the first X, let's say in the first 100 to get a role. Another example or examples could be ranking from holding the ranks between 1 and 100 can grant you like an OG role, or holding 1 between 100 and 1,000 ranks can grant you an early adopter role, and above 1,000 you can get a regular role. So this can be used for even furthering based on time within a community for the admins. This will be even more useful when pins are more largely or widely used and available. But so far, it's great to also imply time spent since a member joined. And then we'll move over to some improvements in our purchase requirement feature. And I'll give the word over to Hannah to say a few words about this.
Yes. The next thing that I would like to share more details about is the purchase requirement. As you may know, we do have this requirement for a while now in certain guilds, but now the purchase requirement became even smarter. So TLDR, we made it available for everyone, for every guild. So let me tell you like how it became even smarter. So actually to streamline the member experience and just to reduce unnecessary API calls, we've made the purchase button dynamically appear only for those tokens that are still purchasable. So this improvement ensures a smoother and faster process while reducing confusion. So actually, the purchase feature is now available in all communities that have set up these requirements. And I will just continue with another improvement, let's just say, adoption. This is about the Wallet Connect. So a quick integration update. The Wallet Connect is going through some changes that we are adapting to. Therefore, for now, we've implemented their version 2. Because lately some users reported some compatibility issues with certain wallets, for example, Trust Wallet. So we've implemented Wallet Connect version 2 to address these concerns and ensure, broader compatibility with a wider range of wallets. So for a 2-week period, we have now 2 versions of Wallet Connect on Guild. Therefore, as an example, if you are using MetaMask, I would suggest you to use the Wallet Connect version 1 because this is the way how it's working. But if you're using Trust Wallet, please just click on the Wallet Connect version 2 and then it's going to be working for you. So it will be for like 2 weeks or something like this. And after all, they're going to finish their rework and we're going to adapt to it. And I will give the word back to Reka to continue with some Galaxy requirements.
Yeah, thank you so much on the above and giving the word back. So many of you know Galaxy, the campaign producing project, and many communities use Guild and Galaxy in tandem for very good reasons. So from now on, we implemented a new way to gate roles based on Galaxy as the requirement. So previously, we had checks for holding a Galaxy NFT, which means acquiring this in any way possible. They could be bought or gotten through a campaign or earned in any way. This was possible already, but now we also added checks for checking if a user has participated in a Galaxy campaign, which is super interesting because this way we actually know more about the activity itself, not just completion. So, in order to be eligible for this role, we also know if members stopped at some point but participated in some part of the campaign. And this is what a great way to reactivate members who dropped off in one part of the campaign. Like, this is pretty good to setting up roles for people who actually have proof that they've participated in the campaign, which is wonderful. So, happy that this is integrated. And I think that's mostly about the product updates. And we'll move over to talk a little bit about the pin campaign that many of you know and have been participating in. And we're going to say a few words about it. So it's been a month since we launched the first pin in our guild. Yay! We were the first adopters of this feature. Guild pins are non transferable NFTs on Polygon, BNB, and Arbitrum. They are a proof of join NFT, and they're signaling belonging from members' wallets across applications that we go to. So it's visible everywhere in every wallet or NFT marketplace or anywhere that you see that. The purpose of these pins is to indicate to the community and other Web3 citizens which community you once belonged to and how early you were part of that. It's a claimable badge to show your support and pride to be in the communities that you're in. It represents an on chain memory of your time and experience. It's great because, we all kind of know and go towards also showing with practice that your wallet is not just a wallet, it's a core part of your whole identity on the internet. So, especially in the world that the Web3 space is building and enabling for us. A lot has happened since we launched the first pin in our guild. We made a big public announcement about it. Many of you who have been here earlier and followed the pin campaign along, you knew these already, but we announced it publicly a little while back with a nice YouTube video, which you should check out. It's one of our most well-made videos so far, like production level go off. And along with that, 8 communities already launched their very own pins. Guild itself, the Gen Score, Li-Fi, Trader Joe, Stargate Finance, Bebop, Zeta Chain, and now, as we know, Linea. And we minted collectively over 300,000 pins already, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. But in this many communities, it makes sense. But whoa, that's a lot. And to make the campaign even more interesting, we had little clues for each launch. This was important to make sure that the members who claimed our guild's pin, we gave them a chance to have and secure lower rank pins that are launching every week. It was in our dedicated clue source channel here in the Discord for those members who have access to that because they have our guild's pin. And so happy that so many of you are in this little journey with us. We're going to write a little piece about this campaign and how we structure the clues and, all the operations that went with it. If in case you want to recreate some of your marketing materials or community events or efforts, it's going to go out pretty soon. And more, a second phase of the campaign is we launched the leaderboard for everyone to see what your rank is compared to everyone else. So each pin gives everyone a set amount of points. The earlier you mint, the lower your rank will be and the more bonus points you have. Thus, incentivizing early support of communities that you enter. The sooner you go, the lower the rank will be, the higher on the leaderboard you'll be. You can check it out at guild.xyz/leaderboard. So how do we calculate the scores? Like roughly what I just explained. The earlier minting means lower rank, means higher points. That's kind of the gist of it. And every pin has a base score, and then the rank comes on top of that. But you can see it on the image that we send into the secret chamber a little bit better. Thank you so much, Vetal and Rusty, for making a Dune dashboard where the community can check how many pins have been minted for each community. It's pretty, very good to see, and also super happy that you're involved in this process. The new communities with the pins will join every Wednesday. as we broaden the availability for the pins. We'll keep this standard of launching every Wednesday for a little bit longer so we can have a hold of every community that has it. We can make sure we support them well enough and, the pins adjust well. But after that, we'll broaden it a little bit more. And I'll give the word over to Hannah to talk a little bit about support and what has been happening on that side. We have some pretty interesting updates and notes to tell you.
It's really important actually to, just give some space, some minutes to talk about support, because I know that like some of you face some error messages, some rate limits. So let's clear the air about this. First things first, I would like to start with the Twitter API changes. So as some of you may experienced it, last Friday, we also experienced some unforeseen changes in the Twitter API in forms of different rate limits. As you know, we rely on this third-party API for our Twitter requirements, checking whether you satisfy them or not, when you just want to grab your roles and rewards attached to it. Our dev team last week just, promptly addressed the initial problem, and currently we are in the middle of investigating this technical challenge. It's really important to say that it might take some time. So until then, you may get some Twitter requests failed or rate limit errors when trying to connect your Twitter account or satisfy, any kind of Twitter requirement set. So I would like to just say here on stage, thank you so much for your patience and understanding that we are working on this technical challenge and we are heads down finding what we can do about it, finding the solutions, just to adapt to these rate limits, which is outside of Guild. So until then, I would like to emphasize that please open conversation with us whenever you get such error messages, so then we can, use our support analytics to improve Guild. I forgot to add that by saying open a conversation, I mean, we have our support system on Guild XYZ. So if you just head over to Guild XYZ and in the top bottom corner, you will see just the chat sign. And Guild XYZ is still the main source of our support because we shifted it from Discord and Telegram fully to our page. So you can find that chat, as I said, at the bottom right corner alongside with many useful guides and FAQs. So please, if you just see any kind of rate limits, just, go there, just click, I need help using Guild, then saying what are you facing with? And then you just click on the I face with Twitter API, rate limits, because then it will be appearing in our analytics. So every single week, we at the support team are sitting down, checking okay, how many, requests, how many open message we got. So it helps us a lot. This is about Twitter. So sorry about that if you are facing any, troubles connecting your social or or fulfilling requirements, but we are working on it. And I will continue with great news. So you asked for it and we listened. Actually, now Guild account recovery is here for you all. Last week, we've implemented a solution to recover your Guild account with your socials. It means that this way you can simply disconnect your social accounts from any wallet address, for example, that you lost or you don't use it anymore, you don't want to use it anymore, and you can simply connect your socials to a new wallet address. So how to do that? Basically, when you are getting any kind of message try, reconnect your social account or anything like this, just try connecting your social to that new wallet address and you will see a pop-up message. We're going to share the screenshot in the secret chamber, so you will see it there. So basically, when you see this pop-up message, you can decide to disconnect your socials from the previous wallet address of yours with just one click. And please note that by clicking the Connect Anyway button, your social accounts will be disconnected from the previous address, and you will lose access to any associated roles or rewards you had with it. But don't worry though, because if you connect your new accounts, if you meet the requirements with them, you will just receive your roles and rewards back. So it's all good. You're not going to lose anything if you just satisfy the requirements with the new one. So I think that's on the support side. The last thing I want to say is thank you so much for actually trying to use our support system on Guild XYZ, because it's a game changer. We have so much data, so many analytics, and especially it's important for me because I'm the one sitting, behind the back of this support, support chat. So whenever you're connecting with us, I'm the one who's replying. So thank you so much for not floating our Discord away.
I really wanted to find like a funny gif of you sitting behind the support and like just waiting for messages to come in. But yeah, I'll take it over with some community news. Thank you so much for the support section. So I'll batch some numbers here. We're just as a preface, we're thrilled to be growing. That is a very, very good problem to have, or like point to mention here. And we're extremely grateful. The like 3 news of numbers that I want to batch here is that we reached over 1.5 million Guild users so far, over 100,000 Twitter followers, and our Guild has more than 150,000 members, which all of these are crazy. And this means we more than doubled our user base since the start of this year. And we terribly just want to thank you all for the trust so far. And we're going to make sure that we can keep building the product for you guys as well as we can. And yeah, just super grateful for the growth. It's super crazy to be living through this. We started less than 2 years ago publicly, and it makes us super happy that we're building something that doesn't only serve a purpose and a larger role in the future, hopefully, but actually is useful. And there's members and actual people who benefit from using our tool, and we can help them that way. So just want to say we're terribly grateful for that. And I'll give it back to Hannah for a little bit of our ecosystem update here in the community news section.
Oh, yes. So some Eagle Eye members may have already noticed that, but we integrated different domain names, domain services on Guild, including .bit, Ethereum name service, Lens, and the list goes on. It basically means that like you can see human readable usernames, displayed in guilds and accounts instead of wallet addresses. Let us put a link, a tweet at the Secret Chamber where we are telling you more, showing you on a video like what it means actually. And last week, something really great happened. The .bit team actually reached out to us through Telegram about it and wanted to share it with their own community because they were so excited about it. Like, how cool is that? Like, they can see, the actual .bit domains instead of wallet addresses in their own communities. So a post was born. They announced it on their social account on Twitter. So we're really happy about it. And I just want to say thanks for all that. This is a really great, way to support each other whenever there is an integration, a partnership, and something like this. And therefore, we've been officially added to the .bit ecosystem page as partners. So it's really great. We are honored to be there. And I'm pretty sure about that it's not the end of our, journey of joining forces.
It's super good to sometimes we get on explorers and some tool collection ecosystem showcases without us knowing, and it's always wonderful to see that. But in this case, we work together with the team to make this possible. So super happy about it. And moving forward with more community news, as many of you know and have attended regularly, thank you for that. Journal Club is still going on. It's our little knowledge hub / learning circle in this guild, in our guild. And we're coming to the end of the first season of it. So tomorrow we're wrapping up this first season of Journal Club. It was a 12-part event series curated by Louis, who have helped us with this a ton and kind of spearheaded this. And we've taken a look at many articles from usually from that month. So recent articles of top-notch writers in the Web3 space every week, which was great accountability to actually go through that reading list that we all collect. And yeah, it was an awesome experience to discuss topics and just get together a little bit, 30 minutes every week, learn and curate together. This doesn't mean that it's gone for good. We're putting it in the drawer for a second till we take our learnings from the first season and can do it better and upgrade it and more better targeted. I think as a more full experience next season. And thank you again, Louis, for making this possible, and thank you all for attending. We know all of you that were regulars pretty well now, which feels actually pretty amazing. And more little update here. We went on a team retreat recently. I think exactly 2 weeks ago, after our last community call. It was a 2.5 day little offsite for the team. It was really awesome experience because most of us are working remotely, even though we're all Hungarians, and rarely have the opportunity to hang out this much and bond and spend some time together. So it was wonderful to see everyone in person for a little bit. And not just over Discord and calls and in the working contact. So that was really wholesome. Thank you for the patience with us for those 2 days where we were slower with answering everything. Luckily there weren't, I think, main issues at that time, which was perfect timing. And a little appreciation as we like to close off, and we're coming to the end of the community call, which I don't know how we zoomed through this much content in this shorter amount of time. I was expecting way longer, so good job us. But yeah, like the last section here is our appreciation corner, our little kudos section. We have 3 main shout outs this week of community call. One for Rusty and Vettel for making the Guild Pin dashboard, constantly updating it so that everyone can follow along with the pin on-chain ritual and experience that we're all doing here. The first anything that Guild has on-chain. It's a very grandiose experience, and thank you for taking a part in this with us. Second is to ODE, who fully stepped up, especially when we were on the retreat as well, and then continuously after, answered and moderated a lot of questions in the Clue chat with everyone else who were minting the pins and had questions about Guild or the pins or the full campaign. They really helped us for that quite a few days. So thank you for that. And of course, Louis, for making the Journal Club possible in this past 3 months and organizing it and taking a lead on that. It's exceptional that we could do this together. So thank you, very grateful. And of course, to many of you who are here and to those of you that came to the Journal Club and constantly keep coming back for the informations and everything. We're working on one more little update is we're trying to find a way to still, the core of what we're trying to do here is to have the knowledge hub for admins, since you see how many things we ship and so many of these are useful in your communities and in many of the communities that are in Guild. And so we're constantly trying to elevate how we can give this information as fast as possible to the people who truly need it. Previously, it was the warden role in the server, and that kind of got lost a little bit or tangled. And so now we're in this limbo, but just as a heads up, we really want to make sure that we can have this communication channel. So we're thinking about starting a Telegram group for them as well, for these news and updates. We have so much about the product, and we want to make sure we can give that information as soon as possible and as well as possible. So that was it. That was the big chunk of today's update ritual, like sharing of the updates. We'll also be a little bit better at sharing the small little things that we do in this server. So some of it we started in the updates channel, some of it are in the announcements, some are available for Wardens in the Alpha League. So we'll try to pull that together a little bit and have more of a resource for all the things that we're shipping really, really fast. As you know, we're the team that kind of it has like a big shipyard to be able to ship this much. But yeah, as for closing, we again, as all community calls every 2 weeks, we have a POAP that can be minted as an on-chain memory for attending this event and your support for our guild. It's going to be in the secret chamber as usual, or on our guild's page, guild.xyz/our guild. Little notes for this week: Journal Club season closing event is tomorrow, where we're wrapping up all the learnings and sharing the last bits of knowledge that we have from the whole season. The guild log about all these updates and a little bit more is coming out this week, compiling all of this that I just said, or we said with Hannah, and a little bit more. And the guild pin piece talking more about the campaign and the operations behind it and the clues if you want to recreate something like this for your marketing or within the community that you have is also coming, I think, next week. So thank you everyone for joining. And I'm so impressed that we could fit this in 40 minutes. It's been great. Oh yeah.
I didn't expect this either, but we did a good job. We were so worried about oh my God, it's going to be more than 1 hour, but no, we made it. So perfect.
And also one more correction, since the start of this call, Guild has been under maintenance. So the POAPs are actually coming in a little bit later. We're working on that. It's a global outage. So as usual, the POAPs are coming a little bit later. So have patience, please, and chat back later. But thank you so much for joining. Thank you for you regulars. I see you. And we'll see you in 2 weeks and tomorrow at Journal Club. Bye-bye.
Bye. Love you all. Bye-bye. See you guys next week.
Bye, guys. Have a nice day.